it's me, Penguin. Welcome to the kitchen today. I'm flying a little solo because Chef's working on his plants and stuff. Besides, he's going to be doing a recipe later on, or he's going to be showing you guys how he fries up his morel mushrooms, or you know him. He always has something up his sleeve. Today, I decided I've been thinking about making pineapple upside down cake because we've been craving it. We have a long recipe to make a homemade cake if we wanted to go that route. But you know me, Penguin, the lazy penguin, anything to take a shortcut. So I'm going to do it the way we would normally do it on any other given lazy day. Tastes just the same. You can't tell the difference. Just a lot less work. You can always do one of those cake hacks out there. Add an extra egg, add a little butter. But you know what? The main star of the show is your pineapples, your brown sugar glaze. That's what makes your cake. So as long as you've got that, you've got a great pineapple upside down cake. So what I always do is I always make mine in my trusty iron skillet. And right here it is. This thing has been through the ringer many, many times. I haven't used it in a while because we have a glass top stove. And I've always been a little leery about using cast iron on the glass top. I've got a huge Dutch oven from Lodge that I just absolutely love. But I've never used it on here. So we're just going to see how it works out with this one. Normally I would use a big 12-inch cast iron, but I'm not going to do that because it's just me and the chef. And we honestly don't need a cake that big around. So we may not use all of the cake mix, but that's okay. If we have a little reserve, I'll just make a couple of cupcakes or something. This one right here is about a 10-inch. You can also use a 13 by 9-inch baking dish. You'll just melt your butter and your brown sugar a little bit different. You'll do the process a little different, and I'll explain that to you. Okay, so I've got my oven right now. It's preheating to 350 degrees, which is what the recommended temperature is on the back of the cake mix. Now, I will say if you're going to be using a glass baking dish, you're going to want to melt your butter first, which I'm going to be using about 1/4 cup of butter or a half a stick. You're going to want to melt that first in your baking dish. You can stick it in the oven, put your butter in there, let it melt. Take it out and sprinkle the top with your brown sugar. I'll have all the ingredients listed in the description box, plus I'll be talking about it through the video. That's how you'll want to do it if you're using a glass baking dish. You're going to be using a cast iron pan. You can also use any other oven-proof skillet that you have. That'll work out the same too. It really, really doesn't matter. It's just I grew up watching my mom always make them in the cast iron skillet. So that's what we're going to do. I do mine just a tad bit different, but not very different. This is just where it comes to the pineapple. So here, what I've done is I have a box of Duncan Hines Perfectly Moist Pineapple Supreme. You can also use yellow cake mix. Oh, and there's the chef. Hi, chef.
Hello, guys.
He's been twiddling with his plants and doing a little bit of this and that. So, glad you could pay a visit, chef.
Yeah, cold and windy outside.
Yeah, a little cold and windy today for sure. All right, back to what I was saying. You can also just use a plain yellow cake mix. That's fine, too. I saw this at the store first, so I grabbed this one. And I'm not going to be using all of this, but I have a can of pineapple slices I'm going to drain the juice off of. And another thing I do is I have a can of crushed pineapple that I'm also going to drain and reserve the juice off of. Because I put 2 kinds of pineapple in my pineapple upside down cake. And what is a pineapple upside down cake without strawberries? Or cherries. Never tried it with strawberries. I guess that could be good too. Kind of like a tropical something, you know?
You like that one I made with pecans one time, remember?
Yeah, Chef made one with pecans on top too, and it was good too. But we have some maraschino cherries. This is just to add a little color and a little extra something flavor. Okay, for our cake mix, you're just going to follow it by the package directions, but I only make one change. This one calls for 1 cup of water, 3 large eggs, and 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Instead of using water, I'm going to be using pineapple juice. That's pretty much the only change that I'm going to make to this. Hence the reason why I'm draining my juice off of here. Anyway, 3 eggs, 1/3 cup vegetable oil, like I said. For the glaze in the pan that we're going to be pouring our cake mix onto, I'm going to be using about a half a stick of butter. Maybe just a little bit less since I'm using a smaller pan. But if you're using a 12-inch skillet or a 13x9, then I would use at least a half a stick of butter and about a cup to a cup and a third of brown sugar. I'm going to be trying to get by with a half a stick of butter and 1 cup of brown sugar in my little pan, because the more glaze it has on it, the better it's going to be. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drain our pineapples. So I've got my little dishes here. So yes, it's Friday. We posted the video about the Mexican omelet that Chef made. Super duper good. We have some in the fridge for leftovers for today. And it's it's like pizza and spaghetti. It always tastes better the next day. It's good when you first make it, but sometimes things are just better that next day.
Yeah, the longer it sits, the better it usually tastes.
The longer it sits, the better it tastes. Okay, got my pineapples drained pretty much. Let's see if I can get a little bit more out of there. Plus, I always take the extra pineapple juice and drink it. And if you got a little Malibu rum, it never hurts to kick in a little of that too. Which I do have.
What pop was that made the pina colada now, the new flavor? Fanta?
Oh yeah, Fanta or Sunkissed. I don't know. When we were at the store the last time, we saw that one of the brands, it was either Sunkissed or Fanta. Sorry guys, you're going to hear me rolling around to the trash can. Sunkissed or Fanta now has a pina colada soda pop. But, of course, we didn't buy any because me and the chef were still trying to, wipe my hands, still trying to behave ourselves and not drinking any regular pop or soda pop or soda, whatever it is that you call it where you're from. Because, you know, there's a whole lot of carbs and a whole lot of sugar in that stuff. Okay, now I'm going to drain the crushed pineapple and pop my lid off of this one too. And these things, I should just try to open it with the safety can, but with it having the pop top lid already, I don't know how that would work. So anyway, I've got this pineapple juice drained. I'm just going to bring my other bowl over here, and I've got my little mesh colander right here. And I'm just going to dump this into here. And just gonna smush it down a little bit into the bowl just to drain off that excess, because we don't want our filling for our pineapple upside down cake or our glaze to be too runny. So I'm just pressing this down, pressing some of the juice out of it. So I think this is probably going to be about all the pineapple I'm going to need for the top of that pan, which leaves me about a third of a can, and we can just munch on it or add it to some low-carb ice cream or put it in some pudding, anything like that. Pineapple's great with anything, I think. I don't know about you all, but I'm a big fan of the pineapple. Okay. I'd say there's probably about a third of a can or a little bit less than that left in there. Just a munchy snack. Yes, yes, a munchy snack. Okay. I'm going to push this off to the side over here. And we're going to do our cake mix before we actually get started on the cast iron skillet with the brown sugar and stuff. So I'm going to grab my bowl right here. And we, like I said, we have a video that we need to do. We were tagged in a video where you actually tag other people. It's kind of a way of helping channels grow. So we will probably be doing that either tonight or tomorrow. It's just, like I said, it's just a helpful way to help little channels grow. All right. Saw something in my bowl and I thought it was a spot, but it's just into the ceramic or whatever it is. Okay. So in goes our cake mix. Again, you can use the yellow. You can even use white. I've used white before in a pinch. You don't have to use a yellow or the pineapple flavored one. because again, we're going to be adding the juice into this mix. But this one sure does smell good of pineapple. Okay, now we need a cup of juice. So I'm going to see how much I've got here. I should have enough. Look at that, guys. Just right at about a cup. Just right at about it. In goes that. And I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take a little bit of this out of my crushed pineapple can and add that into it also. That should give us the right amount that we need for this. Okay, set that off to the side. Now we need 3 eggs. I'm going to crack in our eggs. Oh, has anybody else been having a good day? A decent day? Just been kind of a day here. Nothing special going on. I've been calling around to some of the Dollar Trees because I'm seeing everybody haul all this great 4th of July, Memorial Day stuff, and every Dollar Tree that we went to, we just haven't found any, but I struck gold today. I called a Dollar Tree, and she said that they'll be stocking later on, and that they got a bunch of that stuff in. So me and the chef's going to attempt to go there tomorrow if we can, and try to collect on some of the goods that we've seen a lot of other people get. Okay. So we have our 1 cup of pineapple juice in here. We have our 3 eggs in here. Now we need about 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. And we just have plain vegetable oil right here. You can use canola oil, vegetable oil. You can even use olive oil if you want. There goes our 1/3 cup of oil in. Now you can take your hand mixer at this point, your stand mixer, if you want to make a bigger mess for yourself to have to clean up. You can drag all that out, or you can do just like I'm going to do, and I'm just going to whisk it. Because I don't feel like dragging all that out today. I've got laundry going. I've swept. I've ran the vacuum, which is a daily thing when you have fur babies, but that's about as far as it goes for me today in the labor field, I should say. Other than making this cake and eating it. Making your cake and eating it too isn't... You can't have your cake and eat it too. Oh, hell, I can't. I can have my cake and eat it too. I'm just going to sit and mix this up for a while, and when I get done, I'll bring you back. All right, we've got that all beat up. We've added some extra volume into it by air, which is hence the reason why you beat it. And, yeah, it's pretty much ready to go. So now I'm going to take you guys over to the stove, and we're going to work on our toppings. Oh, and this pan right here, of course, when you make a pineapple upside down cake, you need to invert it. So I have my pizza pan here. I'm just going to cover this with some aluminum foil in a little bit while my cake is baking. And that's what we're going to invert it on. So let's get over to the stove. Okay, I've got my burner on medium high. And I'm going to get ready to dump in my butter. It's actually just a tad bit over a 1/2 stick. But that's okay. I always say, the more butter, the better. It's not going to hurt a thing. I'm going to get that in my little cast iron pan. If I look at it and I seem like, if I look at it after it's done and I think it might be too much filling, then I can always just take a spoon and pull some of it out. But it should be fine. So we're just going to let this swirl around in here and get all melted down. And then when this gets all melted down, I'm going to add in probably about 1 cup to 1 1/4 cups of packed brown sugar. I like to use the light brown sugar as opposed to the dark, but if the dark is all you have, then go for it. Just make a more sweet, more rich kind of pineapple upside down cake. But I'm just going to sit here and let this melt, and as soon as it gets melted down, then I'll bring you guys back with me. Okay, guys, our butter is just about all melted down now. I'm going to go ahead and add in my brown sugar. Again, if you're doing this in a 13 by 9 glass dish, you can just melt your butter in it and then sprinkle the top with the brown sugar. You don't actually have to mix it like I'm going to. So there's a 1/2 cup. And we're going to try a cup first and see how it looks with a cup. There goes a cup. And we're just going to get this mixed in, stirred around to make our glaze. The brown sugar is going to melt down some. We want to have a nice thick glaze. We don't want it to be too runny, but we don't want it to be so thick that it doesn't spread out either. So let's give this a stir and see how it does here. Get all of our butter blended. You want to be patient because it may look like it's not going to spread out right away, but if you let that heat get to the brown sugar a little bit, then you'll see it. It'll start to spread out. So I'm going to see how this does. You guys can see in my pan there, it's starting to spread its way around. And I think this right here is going to be the perfect topping for our pineapple upside down cake. So I think that's just enough. The 1/2 stick of butter and 1 cup of brown sugar. So I'm going to turn this off. We're going to take it back over to the table. Okay guys, if you can see this now, I brought it over here to the table. And what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pineapple rings and I'm just going to lay them down all around my pan. And if you have to break one in half to get it to fit, well, that's okay. You can do that too. You make it your own, right? Make it your own. We need to push them together a little bit. We'll do that, but I think we're good right there. And we've got room for one right in the center. There we go. All right, so we have 7 pineapple rings in there. Dry my hands off a little bit. Oh, again, the nose itch, the infamous nose itch when you're making something, never fails. All right, I'm gonna take my pineapple spoon here and I'm gonna dig us out some cherries out of my jar here. And yes, some of them have stems, little buggers. So I'm just going to take a cherry and put it in the center of my pan. See, I'm just digging cherries out of my jar here. Some have stems and some don't, because we had some from Christmas and I had both kinds and we just combined them all into one jar. All right, those are some... Remember me talking about how big some of those cherries were at Christmas time? It's like, woo-wee. Those are some big, big cherries. Putting one right there. Get us a couple more out. You can go all around and put cherries in all the empty spaces if you want to. Depends on how much you like cherries or your family likes cherries. Doesn't hurt, just makes it even more pretty. But that's, I think we're going to leave it at that right now. All right, put the lid back on this. Whoops, almost dropped it. Way to go, penguin. Drop it, make a mess, why don't you? Really doesn't matter because I'm the one that's got to clean it anyway. Okay, now we're going to take our pineapple that we've had sitting over here. And this is just a little something extra that I do because we like a lot of pineapple. So I'm just taking some pineapple around where the gaps are and over some of the slices. And it'll all blend in when it's cooking. We just like tons of pineapple. Tons and tons of pineapple. So it's up to you guys. You can skip this step if you don't want to mess with it. you'll still have a great pineapple upside down cake. No fear, said Penguin. So we've just been, these days, the weather has just been crazy, as you guys know. I mean, you guys have all had crazy weather too. Here in a few days, it's supposed to be above 80 degrees. I'm like, who would have thought? You got snow one week and 80-degree temperature the next week. I thought it was just an Indiana thing, but it's not. I'm hearing it from all over. Everybody's going through the same stuff. So, I'm starting to believe what everybody else believes. It's like, even the government controls the weather. I don't know what to think. In all my years, I just don't remember having such crazy weather as we do right now. Anyway, if you guys can see, I'm just spreading this out. You know, all my gaps and empty spots, covering some of my pineapple slices. Doesn't matter if you cover your cherries too. It's not going to hurt anything because they're going to cook through. Just gives it that little extra pineapple bite. And we love pineapple. You can put coconut on this right now if you like coconut. Like the chef said, sometimes he puts, when he makes a homemade pineapple upside down cake, of course, you know, chef, he has to do the whole homemade cake and all that, which he learned it from me, but he adds pecans to his, which is good. I mean, it's okay. I like pecans too, but I'd rather just have a simple, great tasting pineapple upside down cake. Okay, guys, if you can see that, I've got my crushed pineapple. Let's see if I can bring you down without the phone falling into it. And the shadowing. Anyway, I just put my crushed pineapple all over the place. Right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and with my cake mix, I'm going to give it another stir. It's gotten kind of thick as it's been sitting here, but that's okay. We don't want a runny cake mix. Sorry about the noise. I'm going to sit that over there and grab my spatula, and I'm just going to see how much we need here. I don't want my pan to overflow in the oven. Just going to spread this out. If you're using a 13 by 9, of course, you're going to use the whole thing. I may be able to use the whole thing in here. I just don't. I don't want to have a muffin top pineapple upside down cake, if you know what I mean. So, because it's gonna raise as it's baking. Also, it sure does smell so good, though. Oh, yes, it does. Smells so good. All right. I think I am gonna just add a little bit more, and I'll just take the excess and make a couple of cupcakes or something. That'll be fine. All right. I'd say I've used 3/4 of the cake mix in this pan. Spreading it all out. Now again, I've got it at 350 degrees. And let's see how long it says here. We're going to cook it for 22 to 27 minutes. We'll just check on it. The same thing with any other cake. You want to poke the center. When a toothpick comes out clean, then you know it's done. I'm just going to spread it over here a little more. All right, y'all. I'm going to get this in the oven. And when it's done, I'll bring you back so we can see it. You know what, guys? I thought I'd bring you back for just a second because I thought, you know what? I was looking for my muffin pan, and I thought, I found these that I bought at the Dollar Tree. It's just these little pot pie size pans because sometimes we like to make just little individual pies or something since it's just the two of us. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make a little miniature pineapple upside down cake. I've never made it in one of these pans before, but I think it should be fine. I'm just taking the butter. I didn't even melt it. I'm just taking a piece of softened butter and I'm rubbing it up the sides a little bit. That way it'll kind of help keep it from sticking so bad when it's time to invert it. Because, yeah, I would probably want to invert this little boogie too, even though you really wouldn't have to, I imagine. All right. And I'm just gonna take my brown sugar. I just thought I'd bring you guys along and show you while I'm doing this because I thought it was kind of fun. Just gonna sprinkle some brown sugar in here. All over. Yummy, 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 right? Hoo-hoo-hoo. Not as if I need it, but you better believe it. I'm gonna enjoy it. All right, sprinkle some brown sugar in there. If you guys can see, nothing fancy. I'm just playing. Chef's outside, so Penguin is playing in the kitchen, which I like to do a lot. So hence the reason why we make cooking videos, because we like to play in the kitchen. All right, put my brown sugar up. Because remember I had a piece of pineapple left? Yes, I did. So I'm just going to take a pineapple ring. And it fits perfect right into the bottom of that little pan. Just perfect. Yay! I go through a lot of paper towels. Oh, shame on me. Not a lot, I wouldn't say. But more than the chef does, for sure. Okay. You can grab us a cherry out. Put a cherry right in there. Oh boy. So super cute. Stinky cute. And I had a little of this crushed pineapple left, so I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on top too. Why not go for it, right? It's Friday. Why not go for it? Have fun with it. Do what makes you happy. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody. We're not about hurting anybody. Okay. Crushed pineapple in. I probably could have made 2 of these, y'all. I'm thinking. I may have to. I've got one more pineapple slice left. I may just get another one of these and make another one. Because we can always, you know, you can bake these and you can freeze them. You don't have to bake them and eat them right now. Save it for later. Freeze it for when you get a sweet tooth snack attack at night, some night, or whatever. Or if you got grandkids over and they want a sweet, or you got an elderly neighbor that's maybe not feeling well and you want to take them a little something special. So, I think I am, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in the oven. This is what it looks like. I'm going to let it bake, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make another one. But when the main one gets done, then I'll bring you guys back. Okay, guys. While we're waiting on that, I'm just going to go ahead. I've got my... Sorry, we got a dog having a backward sneeze. You guys have small dogs with short snouts. They get those backward sneezes. Anyway, I'm just laying a couple of pieces of foil here over my cookie pan. And just running it around the edges. Just like that. And I'm just going to fold it under. That way I have something nice and secure when it's time to invert the pineapple upside down cake. You can use a big cutting board if you'd rather. If you're going to be presenting it to guests or something like that. You don't even have to cover it with foil. You can just invert it on your cutting board. So we've got that ready. We're just waiting on the cake. Okay, guys, here's the pineapple upside down cakes out of the oven. We're going to let them sit here for probably about 10 minutes before we do the inversion, but I just wanted to show it to you now. So we'll be back when it's time to invert, and I'll bring you guys along when I do that. Okay, guys, it's been about 5 minutes or so, so we're going to get ready to do the inversion. I went along the edge with the knife slightly just to make sure that the cake was separated. And it's not uncommon if you lose a pineapple, but we can put it back on, but hopefully it won't. I mean, it's just a 50-50 chance of that happening. So we're going to, let me grab another pot holder real quick. All right, because you want to be careful when you do this because it's going to be really, really hot. Just going to put our hand over here and make sure we got our pan where we want it. And on the count of 3, we're going to flip. 1, 2, 3. All right. Got it inverted. Just going to let it sit here for a minute. Make sure I got my pot holders under there. I don't want to burn my table cloth since it's only vinyl. And let me grab dish towel. Hang on. All right, let's pull this off. Now, another thing too is you want to be careful of the steam. So keep your hands away from the steam. And let's lift. Woo! Like that. Very hot. All right. We did lose one pineapple, but it's sliding. So we're good. We're just going to take it. Going to lay it right over our cherry. Let me get this over to the sink. All right. And there is our pineapple upside down cake. Like I said, it's not uncommon to have one pineapple stick, but 50-50 chance. Usually not more than it does, but you guys can get a close-up of that. All that crushed pineapples absorbed down into there. You can see the layers of the brown sugar, the butter mixture that we have. Whoo-wee, guys. It's great pineapple upside down cake. Okay, now, obviously you don't want to eat it right now. You want to let it sit. Just let it chill. Let it cool before you go and cut it or anything. Unless you like them super piping hot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to invert the two little ones. And I'll bring you guys along for that one. But I need to move this out of the way first. So I'll be right back. Okay, guys, just as a little bonus, we're just going to see about inverting these little ones here. So that's how they look. I just got this old cutting board right here, and I'm just going to, since they're so tiny, I'm just going to use that. So let's just, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Never made a pineapple upside down cake in one of these before, so we'll see. Well, hey guys, I think it did pretty good. We only got a little bit left in the bottom of that. If you guys can see that, that is like super duper cute. And yeah, it was really easy. I mean, you could just make these if you wanted to. Just make little individual. Wouldn't that be like super cute on a plate with either some chocolate drizzle or some powdered sugar? A little dollop of whipped cream or something like that. Isn't that super cute? Huh. How adorbs is that? Well, we're going to see if this one does the same. I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of make sure it's separated from the edges. And we're going to invert this one just the same. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Come out wherever you are. Yeah, again, guys, that's 2. And I don't know how about you, but I always wash these and resave them. Because unless they're all bent up or something like that, you can still use them again. But that is like 2 of the most adorable pineapple upside down cakes. Miniature version. Super, super cute. Okay, guys, well, that's it from Cooking in the Kitchen with Penguin today. We learned a little something together because I've never made one of these in one of those little... I've made a little miniature ones before in the muffin pan, but this is like the perfect size for a slice of the pineapple. So I will definitely be doing this again. Most definitely. But, alright guys, we'll catch you later on in another video because I think Chef's going to be up next. So, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.